So today our topic is history of the Earth, formation of the Earth. But before that, we will be learning about different hypotheses that defines or that explains about the formation of the solar system. So there are several hypotheses that has been proposed to explain the formation of the solar system, and all those hypotheses, all those theories, they have been classified into two different classes, which states that as first one as the formation of the solar system, which was violently done or it was very quickly formed, and the next one, it is all about the formation of the solar system in very slow pace or slowly and moderately. Let us take that group. So formation violently. The first group is the quickly and violently, in which there are several different theories. So this hypothesis actually explains the formation of the solar system was made in quick and very violently. Okay, whereas the next group, that is the formation, and that is very slow and moderate. Okay, so these are the hypotheses that were actually proposed by several philosophers, and in this case, they have explained as the formation quick or slow. So in this lesson, we will be learning about all of them slowly and thoroughly as well. So now let us start from the first one, that is the old planetesimal hypothesis. Okay, so this one. In this case, first of all, I want to make you clear about this hypothesis through that picture. So have a look at that picture. So first of all, there is a specific mass of the sun, or whether we can even say it as the huge mass of the hot gases and dust. Later on the next side, there is something has come, something smaller one, which is here taken as the another star or even the comet. And according to this hypothesis, it states that the very large amount of the matters, they were thrown out of the hot sun due to the collision of the sun and that star. Okay, so in this case, the lower one, it explains about the throwing out of all those materials. Okay, there has been a collision which later on got scattered, and then later on from that hot mass, the things which has got scattered out, they cooled, and later on they formed the planet. So this is all actually the hypothesis that has been proposed by the French philosopher named as the Georges Buffon, who put forward this theory in 1749 AD. So here, let us go through the slide again. This hypothesis states that very large amount of the matter, it was thrown out of that sun. That is due to the sun collision of that sun with the star. So whenever a huge mass of the sun came across with the star or any something comet that got collided, and later on that gave off the different substances of different sizes, maybe of any sizes. Okay, that collision gave off the formation of several different substances of different weights and different sizes or even the structures. So in this way, the solar system, it was found quickly according to old planetesimal hypothesis. Hope that you are clear about this. Now let us go through the next one, that is the nebular hypothesis. Now the nebular hypothesis, in this case, again let us go through the picture first. Over there is the formation of a huge or large wheeling cloud. Okay, there are several substances. Later on, when this hot gases and dust, it started wheeling or it started spinning. In that condition, the certain portions, okay, some of them started cooling down. Okay, during that, the certain surfaces started cooling down, and that because of this cooling, they started forming the specific sections in the equatorial region. Okay, and that thing which has formed in the equatorial region, later on it got contracted with among themselves, the dust, clouds, stones, everything else. They compiled up, and later on they formed the planet at the very first section of their equatorial plane. Later on, same process went on, and then that started forming the planets as planet 1, planet 2, and several on. So in this way, later on, again the specific central mass, that was, since it was very huge, okay, and since it has very hot gases, later on it changed into the sun, whereas the other planets which were just cut off from the same winning cloud, same spinning cloud, it changed into the planets, and that again too started revolving around itself. So in this way, the nebular hypothesis, it states that the planets or the solar system, it was actually formed from the very large spinning cloud. And this hypothesis, it has been proposed by the German philosopher named Immanuel Kant, and it was later on again improvised. Okay, it was improved by the next French astronomer named as the Laplace. So this hypothesis, it is also known as the Cantan-Laplace hypothesis. So hope that you are clear about this too. Now let us discuss about the next, that is the new planetesimal hypothesis. Now the next is the new planetesimal hypothesis. Here, it was actually the improved version of the old planetesimal. So before that, let us again get connected with the old planetesimal. According to the old planetesimal, it was stated that there is a specific sun or the huge mass, and later on something came and then collided. But according to the new planetesimal, okay, there was the sun, or even there was the comet or any another star, but both of them did not collide. Okay, they did not collide, but since they came very close to each other, there was the specific effect of the gravity. Okay, so over here, there is the role of the gravity of star. That gravity of the star, whenever both the stars came closer, then because of that gravity, something rose up. Okay, because of that gravity, maybe both of them started acting upon each other and attracted. During that, when the certain pulses rose up, then later on, when they got expelled off, or when they got extracted out of this huge mass, later then they became the planets. So according to this, here, new planetesimal, it states that the formation of the planets, it was all because of the gravity of the stars later on, which was just performed by the attraction of the gravity when both of them came very near to each other. So here it was actually formed by the Moulton and Campbell. Okay, and this, it is actually taken as the revised form of the old planetesimal hypothesis. So now let us read about the next hypothesis, that is the tidal hypothesis. And this tidal hypothesis, it was proposed by the English astronomer Sir James Jeans and Sir Harold Jeffrey. So this hypothesis, it is actually named as the Jeans and Jeffrey hypothesis. Now, according to this hypothesis, let us first go through that picture over there. So here, there is a specific mass which we actually take it as the sun, later on a specific star or the comet, okay, the passing star, it came nearer to it and later on it exerted a very long filament, okay. So over here, so this is the huge mass or the sun, later on something came over here, that is the star, and in that condition, it started the tidal pull. So because of that, a specific tidal pull of this star, it was actually, there was a specific section that formed the filament, okay, filament of the hot gases and dust. During that, later on when it kept on moving, in that condition, this inner part, okay, inner part went up again back to the same huge mass. The outer section became to the space, and whatever the materials they were formed in the middle, okay, that became the planet. So this is all because of the tidal pull of that passing star. So according to this, here the planets have been formed by the tidal pull. So we need to remember the specific points of each of the hypotheses. So first of all, let us go through the hypothesis again. According to this hypothesis, a passing star had exerted a tidal pull, and during that tidal pull, the effect was all to cause the huge or filament of the gases to be drawn out from the sun. Okay, then from that outer filament, in the case, the outer part of that filament that escaped into the space. Okay, whereas the lower or the inner part that came back to the same huge mass or to the sun again. Whereas the middle part, it formed a series of the structures of the different structures of the planets, and they were later on formed, or they pulled down and then formed the planets of different structures. So this was all about the tidal hypothesis. So now let us go back to the previous one again. So according to old planetesimal, there was the huge mass and a comet that got collided and the planets were formed. According to the nebular hypothesis, there was a quite huge whirling cloud. Again, because of that spinning cloud, there was the formation of the planets whenever they came in the equatorial region and then formed the huge specific structure of the mass, dust and the clouds. Along with the new planetesimal, now this states that there was no collision, but the planets were all formed because of the gravity of the stars, which will pull each other to form the different structured objects, or that is all the heavenly masses which we know today as the planets. And along with this tidal hypothesis, it states that the planets or the solar system, it was all because of the tidal pull of the passing star. So this was all about the formation of the solar system, which was done very quickly and very violently. So now let us study about the formation of the solar system in the slow and moderate way, and that is all explained in the dust cloud hypothesis. Okay, dust cloud aggregation hypothesis. So here, dust cloud hypothesis, it is again the improved version of the nebular hypothesis. So here it is taken as the improved version of the Kant's hypothesis, which is actually the nebular hypothesis. Last time we discussed that it is actually known as the Kant and Laplace hypothesis. Okay. Now, in this condition, previously for the whole quickly and violently grouped theories, it explained that there is the huge mass which we always take it as the sun. Okay. Whereas, just opposite to that, dust cloud aggregation, it first explains about the formation of the sun and later on the formation of the solar system. So, from that side, let us go through the point again. So, dust cloud hypothesis. Here, first of all, the light of the star, they pushed the atoms of the gases and the dust. Okay. Then later on, they got collided with each other. And later on, they formed a very huge ball of the material, which was later on known as the sun. That was all because of the gravity of each other. So, first of all, sun, how sun was produced. So, in this condition, the atoms of the gases and the dust, they form the large particles. Each of them have their one gravity. Again, they got connected with themselves, or they get attracted. They got collided with each other, and later on they started forming the very huge ball by crowding together. Then in that condition, the sun was first formed. And during that, there were several other gases and dust particles which was again revolving around the same sun. Okay. And during that time, the specific rotating clouds, they formed the smaller globes. Okay. Smaller globes of the gases and the dust, which later on cooled later, and then they formed the planets. So, let us go to the drawing again. So, for this dust cloud aggregation, first of all, there were several different gases, okay, for gases and dust, which later on got connected to each other. They attracted each other, and later they formed huge substances which again connected, attracted with their one gravity and formed a specific huge mass that is known as the Sun. Okay, and along with that, still there are several different gases that is rotating around itself, and during that rotation, the external part in which they started the formation of small blobs like structure. Okay, so when they go out of this and then turn out to form the planet. So over here, first of all, the other hypothesis, they explain about the formation of the planets by breaking down from the Sun, whereas dust cloud aggregation hypothesis, it states that there has been the aggregation of the dust and cloud, first of all, for the formation of the Sun along with the help of their one gravity, which got crowded each other together, then later on they formed a huge mass, and on that case, there were several other gases which was quite revolving a rotating cloud, and during that, they formed the small globes, and later on that formed the planet. So this was all about the dust cloud aggregation, which took a very long time, and that's why the formation of the solar system was known as it was very slow and very moderate. So here it is all because of the clouds. Okay, this cloud, and this is also explained in this nebular hypothesis. So that's why it is taken as the improved version of the nebular hypothesis. In this condition, as previously discussed, now why this formation, why these four different theories, they were not taken, or they were not even approved by everyone. That is all because of the major weakness, that is the four different hypotheses states that it was all, the planets were all from the Sun. Okay, by the blasting, by the collision, by the tidal pull or anything else. But in that condition, since that hot material, it is all in the condition of the gases. Okay, they do get spread out in the space before they cool down. That was the main weakness. That means here this Sun, it is actually taken as the hot mass of gases. So hot mass of gases. In this condition, since the four different hypotheses, it states that it was all from that gas. But actually the thing is, before they get cooled down and form the planet, these were the hot gas, means they will get spread out in the space. That was the main weakness, so that's why this were not approved. Whereas the next one, that is the dust cloud hypothesis, it is actually taken as the major. Actually, none of the hypotheses are all completely convincing. But even though dust cloud hypothesis is taken very popular and it is very convincing than the other.